How to Save the World and Other Things on My To-Do List. One Woman's Totally Serious Guide to Inner World Domination by Lizzie Allan, Creator of Hilarapy. Chapter 7. Make the Decision. There comes a moment where understanding is no longer enough. You've seen it, you've felt it, you've practiced it. But now you have to decide, because your life changes the moment you decide, really decide, that you are committed to changing your inner world, not occasionally, not when you feel inspired, not when it's convenient, but as a way of life. Decision is not a light thing. It's not, I'll try this and see how it goes. Decision is a line in the sand. It says, this is who I am now. It is choosing, above everything else, to follow a higher way of thinking. So before we go any further, take a breath. Let your shoulders drop and say this out loud. I decide now. I decide to take ownership of my inner world. I decide to align my thinking with something higher. I no longer leave my mind to chance. I choose my thoughts with care. I choose my life with intention. I am committed to this path. Take a breath. Feel what this does in your body. Now say this. I am ready. I am ready to stop waiting and start creating. I am ready to stop hoping and start choosing. I am ready to live differently. I am ready now. And this. I am not too late. I have not missed my moment. Everything that has happened has brought me exactly here. And here is exactly where I need to be. That right there is different from hoping. That's choosing. And choosing is where everything begins. Let me tell you about a diary. I was in India, 2 years clean, about to go to university as a mature student to study comedy writing and performance, the first degree of its kind ever to exist. And I was on the adventure of my life, solo, completely free, 2 months of one of the most extraordinary experiences I had ever had. Every day I wrote in my diary, detailed, vivid, hilarious, the kind of writing that comes when you're fully present in your own life and want to romanticize every second of it. I flew up to Ladakh in the Himalayan mountains of North India, and to get back down I had to take what I can only describe as the world's most dangerous bus ride. Think of a sheer drop off a steep cliff. The sort of bus ride where you genuinely have to surrender and say, if this is the end, then this is the end. And I wrote about it with such flair. Every character, every detail. The monk sitting in the aisle, thumbing his prayer beads nervously while the bus navigated roads that had no business existing. Sanjay sitting next to me in just a t-shirt as the temperature dropped, and me lending him my towel to keep him warm. The whole cast of that bus, the mountains, the fear, the strange, exhilarating aliveness of being somewhere completely outside your ordinary life. And then, nothing. I found that diary a couple of years later, back in England, in the middle of my comedy writing degree. Life had moved on in the way that life does. I opened it, read the Ladakh entry, the monk, Sanjay, the towel, the harrowing road, and turned the page. Blank. Wait, what happened next? A lot happened next. I knew that much, but I didn't have it. The perspective, the details, the closeness to the actual events, gone, because I had simply stopped writing the moment I got home and started the degree, and life got full and the practice slipped. And I sat there with the diary in my hands, feeling the gap where the story should have been, and I made a decision. Not a dramatic decision, a quiet one. The kind that doesn't announce itself with fanfare, but simply settles, like something clicking into place that you know will not unclick. I will keep a journal for the rest of my life. Not because someone told me to, not because I read it in a self-help book, because I was holding the evidence of what happens when you don't, the missing years, the lost details, the stories I will never fully recover, because I hadn't been paying close enough attention to my own life to write them down while they were still warm. The missing years, the lost details, the stories I would never fully recover because I hadn't been paying close enough attention to my own life to write them down while they were still warm. I needed to see the journey I was taking. I needed the record of it, the evidence of a big, bold, beautiful, challenging, hilarious life, lived through the lens of the law of mind, framed through gratitude, processed through words. And so I committed. Apart from the odd missed day here and there, I have been religious about it ever since. Now at 45, I have piles and piles of diaries, stacked up, each one evidence of someone sitting quietly every morning, processing through words and thoughts the full spectrum of what it means to be alive. The hard days and the extraordinary ones, the fears and the breakthroughs, the moments of doubt and the moments of absolute, undeniable knowing. Writing through the lens of this work has been a phenomenal experience, not because it made everything easy, but because it gave me perspective on everything that was hard, because it showed me over and over that even the most challenging times were moving somewhere, that the obstacle was never the end of the story, that creative intelligence was always working, even when I couldn't see it, and the evidence was right there in the pages. I needed to firm myself on the planet. That's what that diary gave me. That's what the decision gave me, a way of staying grounded in my own life, of not floating off into the busyness and losing the thread of what I was actually living. Say this now. I show up for myself. I return to this work again and again. I do not give up training my own mind, even when I forget. I come back. Even when I wobble, I return. This is who I am now. Then this. I am devoted to my own growth, not because I have to be, but because I have seen what happens when I am. I choose devotion, I choose consistency, I choose myself. And this. I am worth showing up for. My peace is worth protecting. My inner world is worth tending. I give it the care and attention it deserves. I am my own greatest investment. Because here's where most people come unstuck. They feel inspired for a few days. They start strong. They're doing the work. They can feel something shifting. Life feels lighter, more possible, more theirs. And then a busy week arrives. A hard conversation happens. Something throws them off. A day slips by, then two, then a week. And instead of simply coming back, they tell themselves, "Oh well, I've fallen off." And just like that, quietly, without any drama, they're out. But here's the truth. You don't fall off. You just stop choosing. And you can choose again. Right now, in this moment, the practice doesn't close. The door doesn't lock. There is no version of this where you've gone too far or waited too long. You just turn back toward it. Every single time you return, you are not starting over, you are going deeper. Say this out loud. I do not fall off, I simply pause, and I can always begin again. There is no failure here, there is only returning, and I return now. Then this. I release the pressure to be perfect at this. I release the idea that I have to get it right every time. I give myself full permission to be human, to forget sometimes, and to come back anyway. And this. Every time I return to this work, I go deeper. Every time I choose again, I strengthen something in me. I am not behind, I am exactly where I need to be, and I am choosing now. Let me tell you about New Year's Day during COVID. I was 11 years clean and I'd let things slip in a way I hadn't fully noticed until the slipping had gone quite far. I hadn't been attending my meetings for some time. Meetings for me are not just about recovery from addiction, they are a way of coming back to myself, of keeping my thinking aligned with higher thoughts of peace and goodness, of being reminded regularly by people who understand of what is real. COVID had driven everything online, and online meetings didn't feel good. Gradually, quietly, without making a decision to stop, I had just drifted. I took myself off to isolate and write for a week on something I was working on. And I didn't do anything constructive, didn't write, didn't practice, didn't connect, just drifted further into isolation, into the disconnection, into the particular kind of grey that descends when you have been away from your practice for long enough, that the old feelings start finding their way back in. into the particular kind of grey that descends when you have been away from your practice for long enough that the old feelings start finding their way back in. On New Year's Day, I got in my car, and driving past a cannabis store, I felt it, the very real, completely serious desire to relapse. 11 years clean, and there it was, as available and as compelling as it had ever been. I pulled over and I called 2 friends on Zoom. Within 30 minutes, they had me restored to sanity. Not through advice, not through lectures or warnings or carefully delivered wisdom, through love, through laughter, through the reminder delivered by 2 people who knew me and saw me and weren't going anywhere, that connection was available, that I was not alone, that the hopelessness I was feeling was not the truth about my life. It was the consequence of having been away from my practice for too long. Creative intelligence spoke through my friends that day. That is the only way I know how to describe it. Something moved through that Zoom call that was larger than the 3 of us. A shift in perception from fear to love, from disconnection to connection, from the grey, heavy, nothing is possible atmosphere back to the open, expansive, life is working for me one. In A Course in Miracles, they call that a miracle, not a supernatural event, just a shift in perception, seeing love instead of fear. And I have studied that course, and I know it to be true. Seeing with love is a miracle, and it changes everything. That New Year's Day reminded me of something I had let myself forget. This practice is not optional for me. It is not a nice addition to my life when I have time and energy and everything is going well. It is the thing that keeps me well, the thing that keeps me connected, the thing that keeps the grey from becoming the whole sky. I needed to firm myself on the planet again. Say this now. I do not wait until I am desperate to return to this practice. I tend it daily. I show up for it before I need it. I treat it as the essential, non-negotiable, life-giving practice it is. Then this. When I drift, I do not judge myself. I call the people who love me. I return to the work. I allow creative intelligence to speak through whatever it needs to speak through. A book, a friend, a Zoom call, a moment of unexpected grace. I stay open to being restored. And this. A shift in perception from fear to love is always available to me, in any moment, in any circumstances. I do not have to stay in the grey. I choose love. I choose connection. I choose to be restored. Now, let's be honest about what gets in the way. Do you not quite believe this works yet? Try it and see. Stay with it for 30 days and then tell me nothing has shifted. Do you feel too busy, too distracted, too tired? Too busy for a peaceful inner life? Too busy for a reality that actually reflects that peace back to you? Or is that just another thought you've been believing without question? Because here's what I want you to know. You are not too busy to change your life. You are just being asked to decide. And the beautiful thing about decision is that once you make it, really make it, the how starts to reveal itself. You find the 10 minutes, you wake up slightly earlier, you choose differently in the small moments because you've decided, and decided people find a way. Say this now. I am not too busy for my own life. I prioritize what matters. I create space for what I value. My inner world is a priority. My growth is a priority. I am a priority. And this. I release every excuse that has kept me small. I release every story that has kept me stuck. I release the comfortable familiarity of not quite trying. I am done with that now. I choose more. And this. I have everything I need to begin. Not later, not when things calm down, not when I feel more ready. Now. I begin now. I choose now. I decide now. When you truly decide, something shifts that goes beyond motivation. You start to feel it. Excitement, energy, a quiet momentum, like you've stepped into a path that is actually going somewhere. Like something in the universe just went, "Oh, she means it this time," and started moving things around accordingly. This is not a chore. This is not another thing on your list. This is the most important adventure you will ever go on. Prioritize this and everything changes. Say this boldly. I choose this path. I am ready for more. I am ready to prioritize a beautiful life. I am supported in this decision. Life is with me. Life is guiding me. Life is responding to me now. I trust myself. I trust this process. I trust where I am going. My life is becoming something I love. Then this. I am no longer dabbling. I am no longer dipping in and out. I am committed, fully, completely. I am on this path now, and I am not turning back. And finally this. I am creating my life, not waiting for it, not watching it, creating it, with every thought I choose, every word I speak, every morning I show up for my practice. Every time I return, I am the creator of my experience, and I choose something beautiful. You can keep dabbling, dipping in and out, trying and stopping, finding this interesting but never quite committing. That's always an option. But somewhere in you, something already knows that that's not why you're here. You're here because something in you is ready to firm yourself on the planet, ready to stop floating off into the busyness and losing the thread of your own life, ready to get on the horse and ride, not perfectly, not flawlessly, but fully, committed, present, choosing again and again and again until choosing becomes natural, until it becomes who you are. And when you do, you will no longer feel like life is something happening to you. You will feel like you are creating it. If you would like to download a free copy of this book, go to my website, lizzieallan.com, and find How to Save the World and download your free copy there. Don't forget to subscribe, follow, share with your friends, because this is a group effort. I'm really glad you're here. I love you, I love you, I love you. I'm out.